The Caribbean Tourism Organization is a part of what I can call an information campaign to let our various publics understand exactly what's happening with the APD. Because even though a number of us who are at the core of the industry and therefore at the center of the issue are familiar with the facts, we are amazed at the number of people who do not know at all about the APD.
Caribbean politicians and the industry need to mobilise people of Caribbean origin here in Britain to pressure politicians. They need to keep pressure up on government, and they need to explain that they're not against the levy in principle, but the way it's being done is unfair to the Caribbean and will hit it very hard.
We know for sure that were the APD in its form that is now proposed to be actually passed into law, it would have a serious adverse effect on the competitiveness of Caribbean tourism. It's going to increase the cost of a ticket to the Caribbean. So I think that we're really making some ground now in getting various different sections of our public to hear about this, to understand how it affects them, and we're garnering some support as well from the trade, from the media, from the Caribbean community here in the UK, and from the political directorate.
We have to fight APD, not because it's wrong in principle, because the way it's been worked out is very unfair to the Caribbean.
The Tory spokesperson on the Treasury, Greg Hands, has really taken the issue very strongly. He has carried it into the Finance Committee, has made a very strong statement on behalf of the Caribbean, in particular the inequities with regards to the geographical distribution and the banding, as they call it. So we think that our voice is beginning to be heard. But beyond that, we had great discussions yesterday. Prime Minister of Jamaica himself came into London and led the discussions at Whitehall with two meetings, one with the peers in the House of Lords, a number of them, and another with a group of parliamentarians, members of the House of Commons, led by Dianne Abbott.
All this stuff about climate change and emissions is one thing, but actually it's a revenue-raising device, and the Chancellor is unwilling to fiddle with it because he's afraid he'll lose money.
One has to talk to various different levels and various different segments of the interested public to effect change. I think we're making progress.
What we have to do is come up with a solution that's fair to the Caribbean but enables the British Treasury to raise the same amount of money.
In the case of the parliamentarians, they must seek an amendment to the APD Act as it stands now. And they are about to do that. In fact, they gave us undertakings yesterday that they would speak with the minister colleague in that regard. Of course, we lost the minister within 24 hours of that discussion, but there's a new one, and I'm sure that they can take it up with that new one. They also will seek to raise the matter when the substantial debate comes up again. In the case, of course, of the stakeholders in the industry, the Abbott and the airlines and so on, now they are going to be stepping up their protests and their arguments. They are going to now move towards lobbying their own representatives and the leadership of the parties and so on. So we're going to see far more action. The Caribbean is united here in the last 2 days in this endeavor. And we're seeing a congealing of all the critical elements of the region in support of this.